test. Dynaphones connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I am the man that you call Dukes, and to my right, it's all about the...
Booyah! What's up? It's your boy Joe, baby.
And to my other right, coming in at 178 adamantine field pounds, Alfonso X-Man Flores.
Warriors, come out and play.
Well, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, we do need you to come out and play and discuss with us our favorite movies of the 70s, 80s, and 90s that we would want to reboot or remake. This is going to be a discussion about our favorite movies that we'd like to see as a reboot. So I'm really excited about this. As you guys all know, I'm a movie guy, used to work at the movie theater, worked at the video store. Some of you remember or even know what video stores are. They don't really exist anymore. So yeah, we're going to jump into it. And in case you haven't noticed, my voice is a little bit off today, but that's okay. We're going to do it anyway. So X-Man, how's it going, man?
Not too bad, man. I just got back of a little trip. I went to Vegas to visit my wife's best friend, but I didn't get to do Vegas like people do Vegas. I was just hanging out. And then on the way back, we stopped in Arizona to see my mom and my brother and sister. We drove all the way home. But I found the coolest thing ever when I was out in Vegas. You know, whenever I'm somewhere, I like to stop by a local comic book shop. And I walk in, and look at this. Lockheed the Dragon, bam, 1999. I got it at Fandomverse Comics in Las Vegas, Nevada. Oh my gosh. It was a cool place, but more importantly, got me a Lockheed finally.
Is that something that was produced for some reason and you know it was out there, or is it like a one-off someone made?
I had no clue it was out there at all. You know, as you guys know, Lockheed is Kitty Pryde's dragon, her pet dragon. Sometimes Lockheed would hang out with Ileana. It's just a baby dragon, you know, can spit a little bit of fire growing up. But yeah, I had no clue it was even out there. And I walked in, I'm like, Lockheed. And the guy's like, Lockheed, you didn't even notice Cthulhu sitting right there? I go, yeah, I did. But Lockheed, you don't understand. So
Yeah. Now, did Lockheed ever grow up, or is he just like a dwarf dragon at this point?
he's like a dwarf dragon at this point. There was, I think, like a Kitty's fairy tale story where he was like a full grown dragon. But other than that, little baby dragon. A little bigger now. It's about the size of a small dog.
Okay. Speaking of dogs and chickens, which would be Lockheed put together, that was part of your Vegas adventure, right? Dogs and chickens.
Yeah. My sister, my brother, and my mom, they all have dogs, right? And my sister, for some reason, she became a crazy chicken lady. You know, she's going to save all this money on eggs. So she has all these chickens. And I had my my SLR camera out, and I was, I wanted to work with it a little bit. So I took pictures of chickens. And I took pictures of dogs. And more importantly, when we were out in Vegas, there's a place called Red Rock. We went hiking around, took some pictures there, man. Beautiful rocks out there. Yeah, but we didn't get too far because then I had to come right back up. And it's like, my side.
Yeah, I've been to Red Rock. It's like pretty cool. Did you look at the wait, they have not an amphitheater, but whatever you'd call it. They have like a theater out there. Did you see it?
No, I think that was at one of the rest stops. We kind of did the drive-by tour and we stopped at a couple different places. But yeah, I kind of got rushed out of there because, my family, my friends, everybody's like, come on, isn't that enough pictures? I go, you don't understand. You got to take 1,000 pictures to get 3 good ones. They were over it.
That's how it was like back in the 1980s before we had like digital cameras on our phone, and you'd have to take 5 pictures and you'd take them to get developed, and only 3 of them came out. The other 2 were like your thumb.
Well, back then it was a surprise, man. It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
what am I going to get? I can't wait. But
Yeah.
now it's like, I take a picture. I'm like, I can make that look a little better. I'm going to zoom in and zoom out. I'm going to get a little bit different angle here. I'm going to follow the lines. And there's a lot to it. You got to have that artistic eye.
Got it. See, I have no artistic ability at all. So that's the difference. I just take the picture and I'm like, I look angry. And I just keep going, so that's the difference.
With a sexy ass voice like that, bro, you really don't need nothing else other
You're
than to say
right.
something. If you just said like this, Alf, I need you to retake that picture, buddy. You're like, with mesmerized eyes, he'd been like, okay, I got you.
My voice is temporarily sexy, I guess. So
You better start smoking some cigars or drinking whiskey so you can keep that, because man, our ratings are going to go way up.
Dude, why is that whenever you get sick, you get that voice? Because I know, I don't want to get sick by all means, but whenever you do get sick, you lose your voice. And then when you get your voice back, it sounds more deeper.
dude, I have no idea because like I don't have any sort of sneezing or congestion or anything like that. I just cough like once every 30 minutes, like just that's it. Every 30 minutes, that's all I got. And I got this voice, so I don't know.
Bro, you remember that one time? What con we were at? Was it WonderCon? And you couldn't stop coughing. And everybody kept looking, dude. And I think we were the only one wearing masks anyways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we were.
you were kept coughing, dude, and you're like, hey bro, we gotta get out of here. Because when you're sitting in there and you're wearing a mask, your throat would get hella dry, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you don't have no water, you're just sitting there like hack.
Yeah. And I would try to hold it in, but then that would only make it worse. And then I couldn't stop coughing. Everybody was looking at me. He's like, why is he wearing a mask?
Yeah. Is that why he's wearing a mask?
Yeah, man. So yeah, I remember that. So Joe, anything exciting going on this weekend?
Nah, just I'm on vacation this week, so it's just mad relaxing, not doing nothing, binge watching some stuff that I'm behind on. Like I started watching some new shows. I think I sent it to you, Alan, like Ninja Kamu.
Yes,
Can I say
Ninja
it right?
Kamu.
That one's
Hey,
dope.
you're
You
better
should watch
than
that
me.
off. That
Yeah.
one's good, dude. Like the anime is clean.
Is that on Netflix?
No,
No,
it's
Max.
on
Max.
Adult Swim, wherever I guess on
Max.
cable, and then Max.
I
They
think
only
I
have
watched-
2 episodes.
I think I watched a trailer for that today. I'm going to have to check that out.
Dude.
It's really
Like,
good.
yeah, when Joe says the animation is clean, there's no other way to describe it, dude. It's just
Yeah.
it's so crisp, and the fighting is just
Mhm.
so crisp. You're just like, dang,
Mhm.
yeah.
What I like, even though it's good, what I like better than that one, even that one's really good, is Solo Leveling on Crunchyroll. That one's like super hot. Everyone's talking about that.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah. I downloaded the free version of Crunchyroll,
Mhm.
which basically it lets you watch like, of course I'm watching like the original Dragon Ball. Lets you watch like 3 episodes, and it's like, now you must pay. I'm like, well, it's not really free,
When did they do that?
I don't know, dude.
Mm.
Ever since I downloaded it, so I haven't, right now I don't feel like spending like, what is it, $10?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. If
It's
I
worth
could
it,
find,
though.
yeah,
It's worth it. If you watch a lot of anime like I do, it's worth it.
yeah, totally for you. But for me, it's like, I'm watching Goofy movies and stuff. You don't want to watch anything.
No,
Apollo,
the Goofy movie is on Disney.
Mhm.
And I actually have that. Yeah. It's
Love
funny
this
that
Goofy
that's
movie.
something we watched like last week, is a Goofy movie. So
I like that movie. I got
The
like
little-
a what is it? Is it on SoundCloud? I think it's not SoundCloud, it's on Spotify.
Spotify.
It's one of those two. But
Yeah.
it's like a mix where he takes snippet from the movies, and it's like the old 90s
Mhm.
songs that came out, and he has the voiceover with them talking, and then it remixed into a song. It's pretty sick, dude. It's like
Oh, wow.
maybe an hour, I think, of just
Yeah.
his mix, but he does it the goofy way. It's pretty sick, dude.
Oh, that's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Let me know what
still-
that
I
is. I want to. That
Yeah, I'll
sounds
try to
really.
send it to you.
Okay.
still
Yeah,
have
I don't
all
know if you
those
like
songs
the
memorized.
I don't know if you like the music, but it's like in the 90s R&B and
Oh.
some rap, but it has Goofy in the background, like in his son just talking. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Okay. I'll
Orange.
check it out. I may find something I like. Maybe.
Did
Does
you
it have
guys-
Power Line in it? Like,
No,
is he remix Power Line too?
no.
Hey, did you guys watch Blue Eyed Samurai?
As a matter of fact, I did.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
that was fun
Yeah.
stuff, man.
Yeah, I feel like Camus and Blue Eyed Samurai at some point. We need to get Dino Mac on and have another discussion on anime because
Oh,
those were
dude,
good.
he was he so he went to go watch Madam Web, right? He goes, "Hey, what do you know about what Madam Web?" I'm all, "I heard it sucked, dude." He's all, "But you go watch it, right?" And doesn't respond whether it's good or bad, right? And this is before you said, "Hey, yo, that movie sucks." And
Right.
he I called him up and I said, "Hey, so how you think of the movie?" He's like, "Dude, that movie sucked, dude." He's so it sucked so bad. He goes, "If you're gonna do a podcast, I need to come on that and talk about that movie because that movie just sucks." I'm like, dang. All
Yeah.
right.
You guys need to catch up then and watch the movie. I understand
Yeah.
it's not cinematic quality, but sometimes you just got to watch stuff so that you can goof on it,
Mhm. Yeah, for
you
I don't
sure.
know.
know. I plan on watching it just because I'm like, it can't be that bad. I know it is, but it can't be. I'm gonna give it a try.
Mhm.
Dude, there were so many times in that movie where I was just like, why are they, and then like, this would happen. I was like, but why? And then something else would happen. Dude, it's just crazy, bro. I'll just say this, okay? This was the thing that bugged me the most out of the whole movie. She was giving a dude CPR, right? Because she's an EMT. And
Mhm.
then she just finishes and she taps him on the shoulder and goes, "You're okay now." And he just like rolled up and walked away. I was like,
Mhm.
if you were just dead, bro, like that's not how it works.
Hey, but there was like, hey, but they had hot chicks in there. It reminds me of like maybe early 80s, mid 80s, where they would have hot chicks, but the movie was terrible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it takes place in 2003, so
Mhm.
hey, there you go. But I
Mhm.
will say this, bro. Here's the problem with those movies, right? The actresses are adults. They're between the ages of 22 and 26 because I randomly stumbled onto that, but they're playing teenagers,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
So you can say these women are attractive, but in the setting you're looking at them, they're like 16.
Mhm.
That's not cool. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
like, granted, people look younger nowadays, but it ain't no younger 21 Jumpsuit type, when the TV
Yeah.
show came out,
Yeah,
where they
bro,
were like
exactly.
25, 26 playing like 21-year-olds or 18 or something, like they went back to high school. I guess they were like 21.
Yeah, 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 dude. Because what I noticed is like every girl in that movie had like a six pack, and I'm like, hey, maybe back in 2003, all the girls had six packs, but I don't think so. You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? I
Mhm.
mean, like your son. How old's your son?
22 and 24 now.
Right. So it's like because your son's buff, bro. But
Yeah.
was he buff in high school like that?
He got buff right after his first breakup.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I mean, dude? I mean, my
Yeah,
man's
the
my man's
eye
got
of the
buff,
tiger,
bought a brand new car, got a job. I'm like, man,
man.
I should like reach out to his ex and say thank you.
Yeah, I'm like, my son needs a girlfriend so he can break up and then
Oh,
start doing
dude,
stuff.
puts him in a
Yeah,
dark time. You either rise up or you don't.
that's right, bro. That's right. So, you guys ready to jump into these classic movies that we would like to reboot or redo?
Sure,
Okay,
let's do this.
I'll kick it off. 1972 gave us the movie of an African prince who traveled to Transylvania to have a conversation with Dracula and get his help in stopping the slave trade. I don't know. Dracula was a hater. And so he said, no, I'm not going to help you stop the slave trade, but I am going to curse you to be a vampire for the rest of your life. Thus, Blackula was born. And the thing I like about Blackula is twofold. Number one, it's like it the first Blackula, because there's two Blackulas. There's Blackula and then Scream, Blackula, Scream. The first one was played very seriously, and that's where I'd like to start the reboot, because he was a Black Dracula, but it wasn't played goofy or for laughs. It was like, hey, this guy is an African prince. He was cursed, so he was put in a coffin. He wakes up. He's in the NYC because that's what happens. Which sounds a lot like Vampire in Brooklyn now that I'm saying this out loud, but it's not. It's not Vampire in Brooklyn.
So was Vampire Brook from Brooklyn more remix? Do you think?
You know what? Yes,
Oh yeah.
it absolutely was. Yeah, it was kind of like Eddie Murphy was like, how can I not get sued? It's totally Vampire in Brooklyn because the second Blackula Scream was played for laughs, but the first one was like a very serious movie. So yeah, it's cool in the sense it's a horror movie, but there's also some like underlying social commentary because Dracula had an opportunity to use his influence because I guess Dracula had a lot of influence in the slave trade, so he could have been like, "Hey, stop trading those slaves," but he didn't. He was a hater. So I just think it's a really cool movie. It's a horror, and also Joe and I got to talk to my boy Rodney Barnes. Joe, you remember I kept falling asleep, so um, you had to tell Rodney Barnes like, "Hey, you're funny," because my boy was laughing in his sleep when you would be talking. So Rodney Barnes created a comic book, which was a Blackula adaptation, which I've read, and it's really cool. And I feel like that would make a great screenplay for the current or the newer version of Blackula. Who would I like to see as Blackula? David Washington, son of Denzel Washington. I feel like that guy has intensity, but he can also hold that I'm a prince sort of intensity. So that would be my pick for number one, 1972's Blackula.
But why not Michael Jai White? Funny like that.
Because then we have Blade.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But we already got what's his name for that? Mahershala Ali, right? Oh, it would be okay.
Oh, but see, here's the thing: but Mahershala Ali is, in my opinion, just completely miscast for the role
Right.
because even though he's a great actor, and I'm not saying Michael Jai White is like a great actor by any means, he's good for what he does.
Yeah.
He does great action movies, but Blade is just about the action, and there's no better, in my opinion, black martial arts actor than Michael Jai White. Let the man do his thing, give him acting classes for like 2 years, bring him up to snuff, and then let him be Blade because there was no more perfect person on the planet to be Blade than Michael Jai White.
So true. So true.
Yeah. Yeah. Did either of you ever see Blackula?
I feel like I caught it on like Channel 9, but never like the whole thing, just like come in, midway through. I don't know what Channel 9 was in San Diego, but over here it was what K Cal or Kate. I don't remember. That doesn't matter at all. But they always had like those 12 o'clock movies. Like sometimes it was
Yeah.
kung fu theater, sometimes it was like horror movies. Sometimes they'd mix it up. But I'm pretty sure I've seen a bit of it. But when you were talking about how he went to Dracula for help with the slave trade, I'm like, wow, maybe I haven't seen this movie. So I'm gonna chalk it up there with Predator 2.
Yeah. Joe, did you ever pull the tag off of the black section at the video store and check out Blackula?
Everything but that. I'm not really into like Dracula, movies
Yeah.
other than Blade. I
Yeah.
mean, I think I watched like because I like Keanu Reeves as an actor. I remember he was in that movie. I was like, movie sucks. So
Yeah.
like, I feel like Dracula movies, it could be either really good or really, done really well, or it's really bad.
Yeah.
Like there was a recent one that came out, like wasn't it like Dracula on a boat? So I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's a good idea. Like when it becomes available to watch it for free, I mean, I'll check that out. But I think as far as like Dracula on the Sea, that's kind of like pretty good how they did that because it's something different.
Yeah. It must be available on some streaming service because I watched it at home like 3 months ago.
Was it good?
It was okay. It was
See,
just
there
okay.
you are. There you are, dude.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like vampire genre movies, um, outside the box kind of thinking, the one that surprised me the most was 30 Days of Night. Because you got those places in Alaska that get no sunshine for 30 days. I'm like, dude, that's the perfect place for a vampire, right? So Maybe, if they did it, they could do something like that. But of course, that whole Alaska thing's been done. But I digress.
I feel like a lot hasn't been done, and I feel like Blackula started off with that social commentary, and so
Mhm.
that's something that like it's still relevant today that they can work in there, and then transition to more of like a Candyman type thing where
Oh,
you get into this basic monster, for lack of a better phrase,
mhm.
in a urbanized city that is not Eddie Murphy.
Right.
So yeah.
With
I forgot Reinfeld was good with Nicolas Cage.
Renfield,
I
yeah.
dig that
I
movie.
I dig that movie.
Yeah.
That one was good, dude.
Yeah. I feel like
I
people
forgot
kind
about
of
that one.
pooped on that movie.
Mhm.
I love that movie,
It
dude.
was
It
good.
was so good. And it even had your girl Aquafina in it, you know?
Jeez, dude.
Even though I'll say this, even though it had your girl Aquafina in it, it was still good.
And she was a love
Yeah.
interest. You don't see that often from her.
Which it just didn't click.
It
I
didn't
never
add up.
caught it.
Well, dude, she's supposed to be love interest kind of like for like Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
And
Oh, like the
yeah,
friend who, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just
I
like,
don't
come on,
know.
dude.
Hey, so Blackula, did that take place in like New York?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, East Coast kind of. A good twist on it would be as if they took place in L.A.
Yeah. Yeah, because as I said in the last episode, I'm tired of everything taking place in New York, you know?
Right, dude. I mean, dude, this isn't Marvel.
Yeah. So Alfonso, what is the first movie you're going to reboot today?
Let's see. I'm going to start off with an '80s classic, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller,
Nice.
Bueller, Bueller. Yeah. I was trying to think of it because like the thing about Ferris Bueller is like he's kind of like he's a popular kid, but he's not like the best looking kid. He's not like, the jock or anything. He's just somebody that everybody likes. So I'm like trying to think who has that kind of charisma. And I looked it up. Sadly, he's only like 15 right now, but maybe in a couple years he'd be ready to reboot Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But the kid that was in the Adam Project with Ryan Reynolds, the one who played Ryan Reynolds, a little bit of sarcasm, but just enough to where he's like, like a lovable loser.
Mhm.
His name is Walker Scobell. Walker Scobell. But yeah, he's also doing the new Percy Jackson show on Disney Plus. So I was thinking, he'd fit the bill really well. You got to get a Sloan for him. Sloan, I would think like Jenna Ortega would do really well for Sloan because she has that kind of sarcastic, um, afterworld kind of look. For Cameron, his best friend, I don't know. I'm trying to think, man. I don't know very many like teenage actors anymore. So I'm gonna just shoot with Finn Wolfhard from from Stranger Things.
Okay.
But then also I'm thinking about, let's see, what about the principal? So you got to have somebody who has a real, well, not punchable, a kickable face, because remember when she kicked him in the face. And for him, I'm thinking maybe like, I don't know, Jim Carrey did such a good job with being the bad guy, the jerk in Sonic the Hedgehog. So I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe Jim Carrey, he can pull that off. And last but not least, the sister, Aubrey Plaza. She has that attitude all the time, so she would be perfect for that. Um, you guys seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right?
I
Yeah.
have. Yeah. I feel like you put Jim Carrey in anything, he's going to steal the show.
So,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
and he's cartoonish. He gets bit by the dog. He just throw himself on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. The kid from Adam Project would be an excellent choice. That kid's a great
Mhm.
actor. I
He
didn't
is, right?
realize he was in Percy Jackson. I'm going to watch that. I wanted to watch it
Yeah,
anyway.
me
It's
and the boy are
okay.
2 episodes in.
It's okay. It's hella
It's
slow.
okay, but it's okay.
Oh,
Hella slow.
well,
Like I
I
felt
can't.
like the movies had more action.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there's that, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good though, but it's super slow. Like you would lose interest. I know for a
Yeah, you're
fact you'd
right.
lose interest.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
it's
right.
worth checking out though. I enjoyed it, but it's super slow.
My son loves Percy Jackson, so
Yeah.
I'll try to sit through a couple episodes for him, but not The Witcher.
Yeah, I mean, like it's slow if I'm looking at stuff on my phone playing Marvel Snap.
That's cool. I have to say that Ferris Bueller's Day Off is one of those movies that I didn't catch until much later when I worked at the
Mhm.
video store. And for me, I could not relate to Ferris at all. Like his problems were like, not that I was living in the hood or anything like that, but I felt like his problems were so self-inflicted, middle
Mhm.
class, entitlement problems that it was like, how about even if you're taking a day off, you just stay home, bro? You know, how about you stay out of this trouble? How about you go to school?
How about that?
So I could never really get into Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
You know,
Yeah.
it'd be a cool way to twist this show is like what you do is, because you got cell phones nowadays. You put in the day's time, you got cell phones, you got trackers, so you're having to use VPNs to hide your signal. It would become a little bit more tech involved because it'd almost be like a spy movie. Because nowadays your parents can find you no matter what you're doing. Back in the day, it's like, oh yeah, just be home before the lights come on. They didn't care what the heck we were doing, dude. We could have been dead in a ditch for at least 8 hours, and they would have known. They would have checked to hour 10, right?
Till them streetlights came on.
And then they're not
Yeah.
looking in for you because they're worried. They're looking to you because they're going to beat your butt.
Yes, exactly. They weren't worried. They were just like, I've made a rule and you're not following it. You're about to get
Right.
it. Yeah. Yeah, but I think I would, once you put it in that light, because you have this kid, first of all, it would give way too many kids way too many ideas, but they probably have them anyway. But just thinking
There isn't
through,
nothing that they couldn't have Googled to find out
yeah,
what to do.
exactly. Exactly. They're like, I'll just chat GPT it. Um, it would be really cool to think like, how would he have that same day with
Yeah.
all the technology that we have now? So that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then you've got the story would still hold up where the sister got a car, but he got a computer, right? So he's like, I'm gonna become a hacker, right?
That's cool. So, Joe, what movie are you going to hit us with first?
For me, Last Action Hero. I think that was one of the movies that I felt had a lot of potential when you first saw the trailer, and it was just a big letdown. I think the problem is in this industry, a lot of people do remakes from movies that are already been successful. So I think that contributes to the way it flops and doesn't do well. And I figure something that movies that didn't really do too well that you could remix it and make it better, and you would have more success. And my actor for like instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger the lead, I don't even remember the names, dude. I just remember the movie because it wasn't that good. That's why I'm saying to my point, it could be a lot better. Nicolas Cage would be the lead because
Oh,
Nicolas Cage can do no wrong in my eyes, man. He could be in movies. I mean, his endings are kind of bad, dude. Like it leaves you like, so where do we go now? And there's never any sequels. It just ends. I feel like that's like all of his movies as of late. When he signs a contract, it has to end like this, you know. And then his daughter, I was thinking Sydney Sweeney because you got to have like a hot young daughter, and I think she would do good well. And then to your point, like the kid in Adam 22, like the way he was spot on with Ron Reynolds, man, I think he'd be the good kid to go
mhm.
back, um, and make a better movie. And there's for you never seen Action Hero. It's this kid finds a ticket. Wasn't it like a ticket or something like that? I think we found it like a
Yeah.
ticket where he went to watch. He would go to this old movie theater with the owner, and he'd watch movies. And the Last Action Hero was like a Arnold Schwarzenegger played a character that made a lot of movies, and he was like his idol and stuff. And the ticket was enabled him to go inside the movie, so that he was inside the movie, and then the whole
That's
whole
right.
thing is helping him trying to defeat the villain at the same time, go back home. So I think you could do a lot of things with that movie. And in it's simple. The special effects would be a lot better.
Oh yeah.
Storytelling would be a lot better, and I think those actors would do well in that movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's I would not have gone with Nicolas Cage, but it's such a perfect casting because he is self-aware when he decides to show up to a movie. He's very self-aware of what's going on in the movie, and like if it's cheesy, he knows it. If he has to play it completely straight, he knows it. And he would be so good in that role. I thought The Rock. I think like
No,
I
dude,
know
I'm
a lot of
tired of The Rock, bro. I'm tired of The
I
Rock,
know a
bro.
lot of people are not into The Rock right now. I know that. For me, I look at The Rock like I like his confidence even when he's wrong. I gotta respect
But
that.
But here's the thing, though. He's gonna turn the movie into about him. I can't do this. I'm not gonna do that. Stop doing this. And I'm like, bro, you're not Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. I'm sorry. You'll never be Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you'll never
Oh,
be Stallone. I'm sorry.
oh, that's harsh. That's harsh, bro.
But
You're a
those are
thousand
facts.
percent right. You're a
Those are facts.
thousand percent right, bro. In the sense of he is not the right person for the movie.
Mhm.
It's just the
No.
first person that came to mind.
Yeah.
However, saying he'll never be as like a Schwarzenegger or Stallone, that hurts, bro. That hurt me. But I'll
Yeah, but
take it.
that's facts though. I mean, he'll never. He tries too hard. For me, he's like a try hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the guy that has all the. He's like I play Overwatch a lot, so he's the dude that does a lot of damage to a person that has their shield up. Now it looks like he's doing a lot of damages, but he don't got no kills. But you can't say, "Hey, you suck," because he's like, "Look at my damage." Where to me, it's smoke and mirrors, and I think that's The Rock. Hey, look at me! I do all this stuff, but you're really not that good, bro. I'm sorry. Like I lost a lot of respect for him after I heard about him and Oprah. So for me, like, got this stain in my mouth for that guy.
Yeah. You're out of the
But
bloodline.
like, but whenever like in wrestling, I'm okay with it because that he's always been good at wrestling, bro.
Nah, you're out of the bloodline, bro. That's all there is to it.
But you know what? Here's the thing, though. I don't think he's with the bloodline.
I agree.
Yep, the L. You know what the L stands for? Loser. You're not as good as Arnold Schwarzenegger or Stallone. That's what that L means. He throws it, lets everybody know, hey, I'm not like these guys.
Hey, hey.
It's funny when you brought it up. My first thought was I was thinking somebody like a wrestler too, but I didn't think The Rock. I actually thought John Cena.
Mm.
Mhm.
That would be good, but you know who'd be better than John Cena? And I was really leaning toward it is Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan
And only
Reynolds?
say Ryan Reynolds is because the chemistry that they had in Adam 22. I
Oh
think the
yeah,
chemistry would be good in this movie. But Nicolas Cage, you need like an older. I feel like you need an older star that's been because Ryan Reynolds still looks young.
Yeah. My first thought was John Cena, but when you said Nicolas Cage, it's like, oh, that I see that. I can definitely see that.
Yeah, totally.
But I wouldn't be mad at John Cena either, because that's a good
Yeah.
one too. Just because he won me over. Like it's kind of crazy because in wrestling I don't really care too much for John Cena,
Right.
but he kind of won me over in Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, Peacemaker.
No, Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
Because that came out first.
that's true.
Yeah, it did.
And
That's
so
a
I was
good
like,
movie.
wow, that's a good movie. He's good in this. And then when Peacemaker came out, I was like, wow, I really like this guy now.
Yeah, that solidified it.
Yeah. What about Batista?
Batista would be good, but he's just not. He's not as fun, as playful. You know what I mean? He's a real strong person, and he can hold the scene and everything. He can be very action packed, but he's just not as fun as John Cena. That's one thing. Like Schwarzenegger had a little bit more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. That's an excellent choice. Coming back around, I'm going to throw at all of you a movie that was made in 1984. I feel like it's timely. I feel like the story is a lot more believable today than it was in 1984 due to all the current global warming we have, all the pollution that we have, etc. That's going to be the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. And that's just an awesome movie. A lot of people don't know about Chud. Chud's a movie I didn't see until I was an adult, and just the name alone and the trailers just scared the crap out of me as a kid. Like I was like, I'm not gonna watch this. It's real. I was convinced, like I would stay like 100 feet away from a manhole cover because I was sure that there were chud underground just waiting to like drag me down and have me as like a lunch or part of the buffet. So looking at Chud, basically Chud was you have this homeless encampment, and once again, if you live in any major metropolitan city, the homeless population is just out of control. So you have this homeless population that's living underground, and they start disappearing, and eventually the leader or let's say the guy who's the lead of the charity that helps out the homeless population starts to say like, hey, where's Stinky Bob? And yeah, I'm gonna get canceled for that. But they're like, "Hey, where's Stinky Bob?" And they're like, "Oh, Stinky Bob disappeared. Don't know where he is." Right? Then the next week, they're all, "Well, where's Whiskey Willie?" And nobody can find Whiskey Willie. Double cancel. So basically, after a period of time, like everyone starts disappearing, and that's played by I believe it's Judd Riley or Judd Nelson. Judd. It's one of the Judds. Not Paul Rudd. It's one of the Judds, not the Ashley Judd.
I actually did.
No, it's not that.
Winona?
It's not Winona either. But yeah, so basically they figure out that something's eating all the homeless people. And so then they try to save them. Then the Chuds are like, well, let's take the U out of our name. We're just going to be cannibalistic humanoids, right? And then they attack Overground. And eventually they find out that it's due to like this testing that they're doing, this one pharmaceutical company. It's just so timely. It's just a timely movie. Everything applies. There's a million ways right now that the Chuds could occur. For me, the star of the movie is the Chuds. Anyone else is just like background noise, right? But I think James Franco does a great job of being that guy who's very empathetic, and he would be like the guy who's trying to help the homeless people, yet at the same time he has the ability to play an action role, you know, getting chased by the Chuds and blowing them up or whatever. So James Franco is definitely who I would choose as the actor in this movie. But if you're going to make a good movie, a good horror movie, that isn't Five Nights at Freddy, because that was hot garbage, the only choice is Blumhouse. And so I think Blumhouse creating the movie, giving us that PG-13, yet the Chuds are still, you know, eating all the homeless people. I feel like that would be the way to go.
Yeah. I did for the longest time. I remember people be like, Chud, what's that? I'm like, cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. Like, you don't know. And I know I've seen this movie probably quite a bit, but I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through because I was a little bit of a chicken. So I'd watch a little bit and I'd go away, and then I'd come back. It's on channel 9, go away and come back. It's on channel 5. And little by little, but I just remember the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. I had to remember. Yeah. For a long time, had to stay away from manhole covers because that was a real thing to me. I don't think you can cast James Franco only because I'm pretty sure he's been canceled, like his brother, the other Franco. So we would have to find somebody else.
Well, I got canceled too by naming all the homeless people, so it's okay.
I like Whiskey Pete, man. I knew a guy like that. I was gonna go with Shoeless Joe, but I'm like, we can't call him Joe. That's messed up.
It's all good, man.
Puma Joe.
Puma Joe, dude, he's got bank though, you know.
Yeah. That's cool. Joe, were you afraid of the Chud, or were you just like, meh?
I've never watched that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you don't really go for horror movies like that,
No.
so I would say you're missing out, but you're not missing out because you wouldn't
Mhm.
like it anyway. But it's a cheesy movie, but at the same time, you're just left with this feeling like, man, there's like mutants living under my feet right now, and they're not Morlocks.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's pretty scary for its time.
Yeah, you think Blumhouse could do something with it, no?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely Blumhouse could just rock that. They'd have good practical effects as well as a mediocre story, because that's
Mhm.
Blumhouse's thing. Normally their stories are mediocre, but they make up for it with like good effects and jump scares.
Yeah. I think that could make a really good comeback. I mean, seriously, yeah, you're right with Blumhouse and just the way they do things. It's like you can make because some of the best scary movies are the ones that like, man, that could be real, like, based on
Mhm.
true events, right? Right now
Yeah.
in Vegas, you got that whole underground city of people that are living in these tunnels, and who knows what they're doing with all these rains. But you know, they're like, don't get too close to the tunnels because you will not come out. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that would be so perfect. So Alfonso, what do you got up next?
my number 2 from 1983. I had to go check the year just because Duke's been saying the year. 1983. You guys probably had to read it in high school. For some reason, I didn't, but you might have had to. And then they made a really cool movie out of it, The Outsiders. And The Outsiders, when it came to the theaters, it gave us the first incarnation of the Brat Pack. And you got all these actors that just everybody in this movie blew up. Everybody was just like, it was good, you know. I don't think Ralph Macchio did this. I think he did this before he did Karate Kid. Yeah, he was much younger. Joe was saying, see Thomas Howell. You had Patrick Swayze. You had Tom Cruise. You had Tiger's Blood. What's his name? Well, anyways, Emilio Estevez and his brother Charlie Sheen. Man,
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon, Rob Lowe. There were so many people in this movie, and that would probably be the only way to do it again. And if they could if they could catch that fire one more time, if they could just bring in a bunch of nobodies and then they just all blow up, that's what we need. Why not try out The Outsiders again? It's a great story. Definitely, it's going to be a timely piece. I wouldn't mess with the time frame in this one. Keep it there in whatever time the greasers and the socias were fighting with chains and knives, but no guns. And then it's like you have this kid who's from the wrong side of the tracks, who he does something wrong and he's on the run, and he ends up saving a burning schoolhouse full of kids, and all of a sudden he's a hero, and it's a timeless story. It really is.
I'll be the Alfonso. Never seen it. Apparently, it was a book. I never read it. Sorry, guys.
Check it out. It's fun. You got switchblade action, chains and knives and bats, and they had a rumble.
Does anyone have any cool nicknames like Switchblade Sam or?
Well, there's Soda Pop. That was Tom Cruise. He was Soda Pop. There was a redhead girl, Cherry Valens. Who else? Let's see. Yeah, they all had cool names. Dally. They call him Dally. That was Matt Dillon.
Was he from Dallas or was his real name Dallas?
I think his name was Dallas. But they called him Dally. And then Pony Boy. See, Thomas Howell was Pony Boy, man.
I've heard of Pony Boy, but never knew what that was from.
Remember he was from what was it? Step Brothers. Remember when she was peeing standing up, and then she smacked him in the butt. She said, "Stay strong, Pony Boy," something like that.
Stay strong, Pony Boy.
It's from that movie. Outsiders.
That Robert Frost poem, "Nothing Gold Can Stay." I actually memorized that at one time. Thank God it's out of my head, because I would have probably just said the whole thing. But only for an hour.
It's like we're going down this rabbit hole of movies. Like you're like, oh well, it's from Step Brothers. Yeah.
Well, now you know what it means. You ever wonder why she call him Pony Boy? That's what it's from.
I've never seen that. I've never seen.
Well, now you know. I'm just saying. Now you know, because it never crossed your mind like why she call him Pony Boy? Is this so random?
I've never seen Step Brothers.
Oh, put it on the list. Put it on the list, dude. Some good
that's
stuff.
A good movie. You have to like Will Ferrell though, and then what was the other cat's name?
Charles Nelson Riley.
Charles Nelson.
Thomas Howell.
No. Charles. It's Riley. It is Riley.
Yeah. Is it O'Reilly? It's something O'Reilly.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Did you like Talladega Nights?
Yes.
Okay, then you'll like this. It's the same type of humor, dude. Same type of humor. It's freaking hilarious.
Nice, dude. Very nice.
It's so funny. I'm surprised you never watched that. You need to watch that movie. It's pretty good,
dude. I just go through periods where I don't watch I'm not into comedies, so I'll go through a period where I don't watch any comedies. I know I'm the guy with no sense of humor. I know
John C. Riley.
John C. Riley. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Cool. So, Joe, what do you got for us?
My second one is The Last Starfighter, and I swear the third one is not going to have the last in it. But it seems like, yeah, that was a great movie. That movie was like, like at the time, like, we're gonna say my age, when you had like Atari type, consoles where video games, like I remember I used to go to arcades a lot and play. When my mom used to go bowling with my pops. Rest in peace to both of them. I remember I used to always play arcade games in there. So like they gave me a bunch of quarters. I would sit there and play arcades. So when this movie came out, it was just dope because it was a kid like me that was always in the arcades. And so he was playing this video game called The Last Starfighter. And when he was playing, he ended up beating the game and gets visited by this older dude. Says, "Hey, you won a prize to go this." I can't remember. Vaguely remember. It's been a long time since I saw. But he gets a prize anyways. Turns out like they were just recruiting whoever can win that game to help them against people that were attacking their planet. And I thought the movie was pretty dope. Nowadays you don't have that many like intergalactic star fighting in space kind of action anymore. I mean, everything's like on ground. you know, or if you get into fights within a spaceship inside a spaceship, but isn't so much like spaceship dog fights out there in space. And so
Yeah.
I think another movie like that. For me, like I think the young kid that's young enough to play is Tom Holland. I think he'd be okay in it. Just because he's like the young kid. I think he has good range in his acting. And the older guy, even though he was white, I want him to be like an old black guy. And I'm thinking Denzel Washington.
Wow. That's an excellent choice. Like both of those are like really good choices.
Mhm,
Right.
And dude, that's a great choice because I feel like when I look at the movies, I'm like, okay, would it make sense to a like a Gen Z audience today?
mhm,
You know, and I feel like with all the handheld games, you know,
mhm,
obviously people play their computer games, and
mhm,
also, of course, like you know, next gen games like PS5 and
mhm,
Xbox stuff like that. Dude, that movie would totally rock right now.
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
With all
that's
the
such
streaming that people do with games and stuff.
yeah, yeah, it'd be such an excellent choice. And
Mhm,
you know, just them talking about like, oh, we had this transmission and
mhm.
it was beaming to your planet, and once you beat it, yeah, that would be so sick, dude, and
Yeah,
so believable. You
yeah.
know, it would be so believable.
And that dude that was recruiting him was very motivational. Like when he talked, he'd hype you up. And yet,
Yeah,
and no one better than Denzel Washington to do something like that.
yeah, yeah. He'd have us like trying to go out and fly a starfighter by the end of the movie, dude. So yeah,
We need your help against the Codon Armada.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I
I
think
kind
at
of
the
want
end, his little brother was playing it.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
because he ended up taking off again.
remember when
Yeah,
he's like, "Well, what's this button do?" Oh, that's the death blossom. Don't touch that.
Yeah,
Until remember that button we talked about that said don't touch? Touch it.
touch it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely want to see that. That's like a really good choice. So I've got one more choice, and this one was one of my favorite movies I never saw because I remember watching the trailers for Buckaroo Banzai and just being like, wow, this looks so cool. Like this guy, he's a rock star, he's a scientist, he knows martial arts, he's traveling dimensions. Dude, I just wanted to see Buckaroo Banzai so much. But then it bombed in theaters and literally stayed around like 3 weeks and then it was gone. Because in my opinion, Buckaroo Banzai was like way ahead of its time
Mhm,
and people just didn't get it, you know,
mhm,
because uh looking back, he was like Japanese and American. He was multicultural in the sense, or not, excuse me, not multicultural, multi-skilled in the sense of like he was a brain surgeon, but then at the same time, he was also you know, he was like a rock star. He was a scientist as far as like astrophysics. So all that, like, hey, I would see that today, but back at that time, people were just like, that's crazy. People can't do all that. But now people do all that, you know,
yeah,
like they're just do all that stuff. But see, here's the thing that really gets me, right? Is now we have the Hadron Collider where they're trying to take basically two molecules and smash them together and see what happens and basically open up, well, in theory, if you watch conspiracy stuff like I do, open up like new dimensions and things of that nature. So once again, it fits perfectly into Buckaroo Banzai's full name was Buckaroo Banzai Adventures in the Eighth Dimension, where there weren't invaders coming from outer space, they were coming from the dimensions in between each molecule. And to me, that's way over everybody's head. I'm sorry, 1984, when this movie was made, everybody in 1984 looked at that movie and said, like, what's a dimension? They just didn't get it. It
mhm,
was over their heads. But now I feel like because Marvel's introduced like multiverse, like Buckaroo, do not call it any sort of multiverse, stick with dimensions. You got to call it a dimension, right? A universe inside the molecule. Do it that way, right? But don't make them small because then people are going to think Ant-Man. Don't even make people think about Marvel. But yeah, dude, I absolutely love this movie because to me, like I thought it was really cool, dude. Like I'm thinking now because my first choice I'm going to say was Tom Holland, right?
mhm.
But I'm like, Tom Holland, granted, it's like I cannot think of any multicultural actor who would respect the origin of being Japanese and American, right? So Tom Holland, I thought like he can play the tough guy, but he also has like comedic chops. I thought about Chris Hemsworth, but then like honestly, he's just like hyper European. He's just like the ultimate European dude. So I couldn't buy him either. So as I'm thinking about it, you guys may not be familiar with Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead.
Mhm.
He was supposed to be Sentry. I feel like less respect that the heritage of Buckaroo Banzai. I feel like Stephen Yeun is just a crazy good actor, and he could pull it off. So that's who I would pick. All the other, there's just so many people like Jeff Goldblum was in the movie as like a cowboy. You know, just there's so many people. So the extraneous actors, man, whatever. You know, but I like to see Stephen Yeun lead Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah, I think Stephen Yeun would be a really good choice for that. Or what's his name? Kumar or Harold and Kumar. What's his name? John Choi. He'd be pretty good too.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know this, but Kevin Smith was writing a script for a rebooted Buckaroo Banzai, and I think COVID killed all that. But it was in the works. He was super stoked about it because he's a huge fan, and it just got to be too much. And with not enough going on in the world, it got scrapped. So who knows? Maybe one day it'll come back.
Do you think he
Yeah.
got scrapped after he wrote He-Man?
No, no,
Did he write the newest He-Man?
he
Yep.
did.
Okay,
terrible.
I watched that one
It was good.
because everybody was hyping it.
Terrible.
Okay, somewhere between terrible and it was good is where I'm sitting. It was just okay.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But they're setting up like the next chapter, and man, that's gonna be garbage.
Yeah, like there's a new chapter that came out. I haven't even watched it because the last one I was like, come on, dude.
Yeah, the first one was Revolution.
Yeah,
This one's Revelations.
there's another one that just
With
came out.
yeah,
Did?
the newest one's Revelations. And I watched
Is
that
it?
one. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Alfonso, was that it?
That's it.
I
Yeah.
thought it was like the third one that came out.
No, I don't think the third one's come out yet.
No,
I
the
don't know
third one's coming, bro. At the end of the second one, they basically talked about they kind of gave you an idea of what the third one was. So I did the Joe and I looked it up on YouTube to figure out what they were talking about, and I was like, ah,
Hordak.
yeah,
She-Ra.
Hmm.
She-Ra's
yeah,
coming.
yeah. She-Ra's coming. It's like the way they're doing. I mean, hey, maybe that's the original origin of She-Ra, but
Dude,
but no, I don't want.
I was say it was just cool to see that He-Man and Teela got together finally, because it's like you wanted that. You're growing up the whole time. You want that while you're watching the original. And
I never wanted that ever in my
What?
entire life.
I
Never
wanted
wanted that. And why is she suddenly the daughter of the sorceress? Like,
She
when
was
did that happen?
in the very last episode of the original
Mhm.
He-Man series.
Really?
Yes.
I don't
Dang.
remember that. I thought that was something that Kevin
Yeah,
Smith.
you know what?
Nope.
You know what, Alfonso? You don't have to like stand for your boy Kevin Smith, okay?
Hey, I'm just defending the source material at this point.
Dude, I don't want Kevin Smith touching Buckaroo Banzai.
No way.
There's been nothing that Kevin Smith has made that sorry, Alfonso. There's been nothing Kevin Smith has made that I've ever said, wow, I want to watch that. And if I did watch it, I've never said, wow, I want to watch that again.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
Yeah.
It's okay. We can agree to disagree.
We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do that and we just move on
Yes.
and we still love each other. So it's all good.
I digress.
All I know is if we run into him at con, I'm getting with him and you guys are taking the picture for me.
Hey, I'm down. I
Definitely.
can do that.
Definitely. And
I
I'm
can
going
do
to
that
eat
for sure.
every word I said and be cheesing in every selfie. I love you, Kevin Smith.
I would be like, hey, nice job on He-Man.
Oh, damn.
Joe's going to be like, yeah, I like how you tied in the last episode of He-Man into your show.
Yeah, like I like how some people just don't know Teela and how the sorceress do that was the mother and the daughter. I like how you brought that source material in to let people know that people didn't know that that happened at the end of He-Man, the original series. Want taking this picture?
Right.
Yeah. So now that I found a way to insult one of Alfonso's favorite creators, Alfonso, what do you got coming in for us?
For number 3, at the beginning of the show, I always like to give a little quote from something, giving you a little foreshadowing of what's going to happen. I went ahead and said, "Warriors, come out and play." So, my last choice is 1979's The Warriors. All right. So, back in the early 70s, when you had all these gangs and everybody was, it was an interesting time, right? You had disco, you had rap, everything was kind of coming together. So it was a different time. All right. So this Warriors, I would want to actually have it take place in a post-apocalyptic world where everything has gone down. You have no more internet. You have no more, the cities are in disarray, and you've got these gangs that are keeping their little areas safe. So it's like they still have to do the same thing, cross through all these gangland territories safely. And I think the only way they'd be able to pull that off is in a post-apocalyptic world. And the possibilities in this are endless. Of course, you're going to have the warriors, the guys who have to get from point A to point B. And there's no reason why you couldn't bring back the gang, the baseball furies, because they're timeless, right? But I did come up with some other ones, right? Because it does take place like in the New York area. Why not have, everybody's gangs after a street, right? Have Wall Street, a bunch of guys dressed up like American Psycho, right? You would have the Goths, right? A bunch of, goth guys, and they have all their little spikes and metal and everything. That'd be a tough one to go against. The LARPers, right? You got a bunch of guys that are dressed up like Conan the Barbarian, but they've got real swords because they found them, and they sharpened them up.
Right.
And then of course Vikings. You got to have Vikings, right? So I mean, there's so many different gangs you guys could just add to that. You could have a basketball team, you could have a football team, you could have a hockey team, right? The possibilities are endless. You could have, there could be the Nerd World Order gang, right? 3 of us right there on top of the hill, and we got all our nerds, and they're pushing up their glasses going, "Come on, guys, let's get them."
I think that's a really cool idea. I'm not a fan of the Warriors. That's another one of those movies where I'm like, I can't remember why they ended up needing to go through like every neighborhood, right? But it's another one of those where I'm like, how about y'all just stay where you're at, and in the morning, once the sun comes up, then you try to go home. You ain't got no job.
They got framed.
Yeah.
And so like the gangs were huge, dude. Like you watched the movie, right? You ain't hiding anywhere, bro. Like they're gonna find you, so you have no choice but to keep running.
And if you go during the day, you're just going to be more easily spotted, right?
Yeah,
and they were just trying to get home. It was the only safe place for them to.
That's why I think like you'd have to do it like back in that time period. I don't think you could do it in today's. I mean, they get those little rental scooters. You know what I mean? They got different ways for you to get around. You know what I mean? Like cars everywhere. It seemed in that where they were at, there was like no, it was always empty.
Yeah,
it was late at night and no one was in the streets.
Right.
Yeah, I think the post-apocalyptic thing would be cool because you could still have scooters, but the roads would be all like jacked up, and like people would like hit potholes and they'd fly. It could be cool. It could be real cool, man.
There could be the rent-a-scooter gang, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Lime, weren't those called limes?
Limes, there's a bunch of different ones.
Yeah, they're a bunch of them now. I think Lime went out of business. I don't see those anymore.
Yeah. Did they still have those in this?
Shout out to Cavi. Remember when Cavi worked for Lime that one year at the Comic-Con? He's like, "Hey, you guys ever need these?"
Yeah. Dude. Those were for one Comic-Con and one Comic-Con only. Everybody was using them. Now it's like so a little bit, but not like it was that year. That year was a crazy year.
No, it was.
That preview night, what I did was I parked as close as I could without paying, and I rented one of those things, and I rode it all the way over to the con. We got there pretty quick. It was pretty sweet. But once you got into the downtown San Diego area, there was like a shutoff point, so they wouldn't work in there. So you had to leave it there and hoof it the rest of the way, which wasn't too bad. But when I had to leave, for some reason, my directions took me a different direction, and I had to go over a bridge. All right, going up the bridge, I'm not a small guy. It was a little bit of a struggle. I had a couple swag bags with me. Going down the bridge was the scariest thing I've ever lived through in my entire life. I had the speed wobbles, right? I could picture myself face planting, my glasses going everywhere. But, and I had my swag bags. I couldn't drop the swag bags, man. There was some X-Men stuff in there. You know what I mean? But I made it. I survived and persevered.
Yes.
Dude, I was gonna ask you, like, those things just never seem very safe to me. So I imagine if you're on flat ground,
Yep.
they're okay, but downhill, no, thank you.
Oh, I rode the brake the whole way.
That's awesome. Yeah, all those different gangs you described, those would be good. I get rid of the Furies just because
Oh,
I
you got a
wouldn't
class, man.
want to. Yeah, I wouldn't want to try to reproduce anything that
Sure.
was in there previously. So, like all the other gangs you mentioned were like super cool. Having like maybe a football gang or something like that, change it up a little bit, like an homage to the Furies, but
Right.
now they're football teams. That'd be pretty cool.
What
That's a good choice, man.
what gangs would you guys put in there?
Let's see here. I like the Wall Streets, definitely. It's funny because you say that there's no technology,
Right.
but I would want to see something where they're kind of like cyberpunk, where
Yeah.
like maybe they were chasing them with drones. So like you have this group that never leaves the building. Like they just stay in a building, but then they
Right.
have drones and they're like dropping stuff like broken glass and stuff on them out of the
Nah,
drones.
They got a generator, dude.
Yeah.
That's sick. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Joe? You got one?
So like a kung fu group, martial
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be like a dope fight scene.
Everybody's got the nunchucks and the bow staffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like size.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles represented, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it'd be cool if someone actually died. Like,
Oh,
because you've got these martial artists, like one of the warriors dies because they're fighting martial artists, and then all the others just run away.
right.
That'd be dope. Dig that. Okay, Joe, it's time for you to take us home, my bro.
Mine is for some reason I did all the movies in the 80s. The Beastmaster with Mark Singer. It was dope. A guy that could communicate with animals. I thought that was pretty cool. Like what he had, I think he had a tiger, a bear, bird too, I want to say.
Ferret.
Yeah,
There's a
I
couple
remember the
ferrets.
Ferret.
Yeah, ferret.
It was a ferret, right? But yeah, so pretty much is like this high priest. This witch told him that the king's son will be the one that takes him down. So he tries to have him killed. Eventually, he doesn't get killed, but he has the ability to talk to animals, which is pretty cool. So he ends up winning. But I thought it was pretty cool because he had Mark Singer, and then I can't remember her name, dude. She was like in every 80s and 90 movies as like the sexy girl in all those movies, dude. What was her name?
You got me.
I want to say Shannon. No, Tanya Roberts.
Oh.
Yeah. So back in the day, dude, she was a hottie in a lot of movies, man. She was dope. So for me, I know there's some younger actors for some reason. If I'm looking at someone that's similar to Mark Singer, it'd be Matthew McConaughey, right? Because he's like, he grows hair long. He's in good shape, dude. He still looks young,
Yeah.
And then the girl that played Kiri could be Sydney Sweeney. I think she's hot. So I mean, I think she'd be good, like the blonde and Danzo in Distress,
What
that
did she
played-
play?
She played one of the slaves,
But which actress are you talking about?
the one in
That
Madam Web. Sydney Sweeney. She played
Oh, dude, you love you some Sydney
Hey,
Sweeney,
I just gotta
right?
say it, bro. Like, I think she'd be good at it, bro. And then the older dude, I don't know, man. Jack Nicholson, I don't know, man. I don't even know if he acts anymore. But you need like an older priest that's like a dick.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I'm gonna once again say I don't think I ever watched Beastmaster. Wasn't there like 3 Beastmaster sequels too? Like at least 2?
Yeah, but they don't
Yeah.
count.
Yeah, but those were in those days, like in the 80s and 90s, bro. Whenever they did sequels, man, they wouldn't have the same actor, and it was
Oh.
doo-doo. I think that in hindsight, I would think they probably read the script and be like, you know what, dude, this this ain't gonna be good. and then just said, they'll find somebody else.
Right. Okay. Okay. I've heard of Beastmaster, and sometimes I'll talk to people and they're like, "Oh, Beastmaster was such a good movie." So I know it's a good movie, but I don't know why. I think back when I was at the video store, I feel like that movie was always stolen. Remember how people would rent movies and never bring them back? I'm pretty sure Beastmaster was a never bring them back movie, so maybe that's why I didn't see it.
Hey, you know who would be good for the old guy? Robert Patrick. From Terminator 2. Also, he was recently in Reacher. And,
Yeah, that's a good cast.
Yeah. Yeah, Robert Patrick that dude's on fire
yeah,
as far as like portraying the old guy who everybody hates,
right.
because he was in Peacemaker as well.
Yep.
And
The Reacher.
dude,
He was good in Reacher too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like he's one of those guys who I don't think he got much respect after T2, because I feel like he didn't have a lot of roles.
He was in Wayne's World too. Have you seen this boy?
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah,
I
who could
think that
forget
was a reprise of like a shout out to his Terminator role.
Yeah,
So
it was.
he really hasn't done anything since.
right? And now
Notably.
yeah, now he's like boom, boom. I see him in two things, and I'm like, I don't like this guy, but I like his acting.
Mhm.
Right.
It's perfect.
He's a guy you don't want to like. You
Yeah,
love to hate.
that's a good choice, Alfonso. I cannot agree with Matthew McConaughey, bro. You were on fire. You were like, pow, pow, pow. I was like, oh, Joe needs to be a producer.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find like what's another young actor? You know what I mean?
Dude, Hemsworth would be an awesome Beastmaster,
Oh, you know what, dude? I forgot about him.
or even Reacher.
Mm,
Dude, Reacher with.
I don't know, man. But those two dudes, I seen them like, I don't know, dude. They're just for me. That's like the type of characters that the player. I can't see them playing Beastmaster.
It's hard to
I
sit
would-
here and think of a man in a loincloth.
Yeah.
Is it though? Seriously though, I could see Hemsworth. For me, the guy who plays Reacher, that dude's just too big
Yeah.
to be anything.
He could be Conan.
Yeah, dude, he's just too big to I would feel like he would just walk on the screen and just smash anything. Like he'd put a chokehold on his tiger. So Chris Hemsworth, I'll take that one.
Yeah, I'll take that one too.
Yeah, definitely. This has been a very fun conversation, guys, because it's kind of like a walk down memory lane. However, we're introducing new ways to look at it, bringing it into the 20 and 24. So this has been really awesome. So, Joe, this was a great idea. This is Joe's idea. He was like, "Hey guys, we need to come up with something fresh and original." And I am fresh and original. That's not what he said, but that's what he meant. So yeah. Yeah, dude, this is a great topic. I hope we do more things like this in the future. And this concludes this episode of the Nerdwood Order broadcast. So until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerdwood Order, I am NWO.
We are NWO.
Nerds redefined. Booyah!